Hello my dear friends, welcome to this beautiful channel Fly with Physics and myself Adira. So in this class we are going to look what is electric flux, what is the formula to find electric flux, and also we are going to solve some problems related to electric flux to make this concept easy for you all. So let's begin the class. So before getting into study electric flux, we need to understand a small concept, that is areal vector. So what is a areal vector? So we have already studied about area, what is an area, and till now we have studied that area is a scalar quantity and it has only a magnitude and it don't have direction. But what if I tell you area is a vector quantity? What ma'am, are you making fun of us? No, actually area is a vector. So from now onwards, if anyone asks you what is a area, means it is a vector or a scalar, you should tell that area is a vector quantity. So area can be represented as a vector, it has both magnitude and direction. So area is a vector quantity which has both direction and magnitude. So from now onwards, for you, area is a vector quantity, okay? And direction of area vector. So we have studied what is the magnitude of an area. If it is a square, it will be side into side, and if it is a rectangle, it will be length into breadth. So we know how to find the magnitude of the area. But what will be the direction of area? So the direction of areal vector will be always perpendicular to the surface. So it will be always perpendicular to the surface. Don't worry, let me give you some examples. So from that you can understand how to find the direction of an area vector. So let's consider three coordinates. So this will be our x, this will be our y, and this is our z. You can consider anything you need. Just consider three coordinate with x, y, z. Okay. Now let's consider shape. Which shape should we consider first? Let's consider a square. Okay. So this is our square kept in z and y plane, because one side is in z and another is in y axis. So this square is situated in zy plane. And this is our origin. So let's name this square, that is A, B, if you need. If you don't need, don't name it. Okay, so we have named this square as ABCD, and each side of the square is small a. Length is small. So what will be the area of this square? So we know that to find area we are doing side into side. So area is equal to, so magnitude of area will be a square. Okay, side into side. Now what will be the direction of this area vector? That is, the direction of area vector will be perpendicular to the surface. So our surface is this. So what will be the direction that is perpendicular to the surface? Of course it will be in the direction of x-axis, because that will be the direction which is perpendicular to the surface. So it will be in this direction, which is in x-axis direction. So this direction makes a perpendicular, that means 90 degree with the surface. So the direction of the area vector will be in our x-axis, so we can represent it as I cap. Okay. And it can also have another direction, that is in minus x-axis direction. That is, from here to it can go like this also. That is minus x direction. So we can write area is equal to, again, it can have both two directions, a square minus I cap. I hope you understood this. I will explain it to you once more. See, this is a square which is in our zy plane, and each side of the square has a length of a. So to find the area, to find the magnitude of an area, we should multiply the side into side. That means for a square, to find the area, it is, the formula is equal to area is equal to side into side. So we are multiplying side into side, so we will get a square, and direction that is written in our above statement, it will be perpendicular to the surface. So perpendicular to the surface means the perpendicular direction from this zy plane is in x direction. So the direction of this area vector will be in x direction, that will be perpendicular to this plane. Yeah, perpendicular to the surface. And there will be one more direction, that is in minus x direction, and this is also perpendicular to the surface. Now let's consider a rectangle. I'll give you maximum examples as possible so that you will get a perfect idea about this area vector, because I don't want my students to get confused about this area vector in the future. What will be the direction of an area vector? So I'll give you maximum examples as possible so that you will be understanding the direction of the area vector and not get confused about it. So let's consider an rectangle. Now let's just exchange these coordinates. Let's represent this as our x, this as our y, and this as our z. Okay, and this is length and L, and this is my breadth. Okay, so L, and this is my length, and this is my breadth. Okay, L is our length and B is our breadth. So we can write area is equal to, let me write here, area is equal to, so since it's a vector I can put this sign, area is equal to L into B, length into breadth. To find the area of a rectangle, it is the formula length into breadth. So I have written it, it will be my magnitude L into B. And what will be my direction? The direction should be perpendicular to the xy plane now, because this rectangle is situated in xy plane, so it should be perpendicular to the xy plane. So the perpendicular direction of the xy plane is in our z direction, so it is like this. And unit vector of z is k cap, so we can write L into B k cap. And there will be one more direction, that will be in minus z direction, sorry, like this, minus z direction. So this will be in our z direction and this is in our minus z direction. So since it is in a minus z direction, it has one more direction, that is minus k cap. So we can write one more area, area is equal to, our magnitude don't change, only direction changes. So this rectangle can have two area vectors, that is one in our z direction, that is k cap, and another is in minus z direction, that is our minus k cap. Okay, understood this? Okay, I hope you understood this. Let's do another example in which I am considering again a square, but not in this plane. I am considering like this, a square. I hope this looks like a square for you. Anyway, consider this is our square. Okay, no any more thinking. And the side of the square is A. Okay, and let's name this coordinate as x, y, and z. Okay, now the square is in xy plane, right? So our area is equal to, I'll write it here down, area is equal to, again, a square, direction will be, there will be two direction, one is in perpendicular to this plane, means it will be like this, right? That is in z direction. So z, unit vector of z is k, so k cap, and another will be just downward, that is in minus z direction. So our area again will be, area is equal to, there will be two direction for this area, that is a square minus k cap. Okay, this will be more clear to you, right? So for a area there is two direction, that is one can be in z direction and another can be in minus z direction. Now let's consider a rectangle in here. Okay, so this is my rectangle with length L and breadth B, and let's name this coordinate as this, let's be, this is y and this is x, and this is z. Okay, again we know that area of a rectangle is equal to length into breadth. So area is equal to length into breadth, L into B. Direction, what will be the direction? It will be in this direction, that is in x direction. So unit vector of x is I cap. Okay, next area will be in minus x direction, right? The perpendicular from this will be in this way also, that is in minus x direction. So we can write L cross B minus I cap. Okay. Now let's consider another shape. So we have considered a rectangle. Now we have already considered a square. Now let's consider a circle. So let's consider a circle here. So this is my circle with radius r, and let's name this coordinate that as, let's consider this as y, x and z. Okay. So this is in our zx plane. So area of a circle, I am writing it as A. Okay, area of a circle is equal to pi r square. So pi r square. Okay, that is magnitude. And what will be the direction? Direction will be in perpendicular to the surface. So this is our surface that is in xz plane. So perpendicular means it will be in y direction. So you can write it as, the unit vector of y is j. So you can write j cap, sorry. So you can write it as j cap. And also one more direction, that will be in minus y direction. So it is in minus j cap. So A is equal to pi r square minus j cap. So this all examples was for our 2D surface. We didn't consider any 3D surface here, just for 2D surface. And for 2-dimensional surface, you can have 2 direction. That means one is in positive direction and another is in negative direction. Okay, understood? I hope you understand this. Now let's look into what is the difference from area vector in 2D surface and 3D surface. So let's consider a 3D surface. So this is my cuboid. So for 3D surface, we need 3 coordinate to represent a body. That means we need a x-axis, we need a y-axis, and plus we need a z-axis. It will be in x, y, z plane. Okay. So here we can represent it as, let's draw here. It will be my x-axis, and sorry, this will be my y-axis, and this will be my z-axis. So if I need, you can write it as x, y, z. So here this cuboid is sitting in xyz plane, and this will be my origin. Understood? So this is known as 3D surface. So for representing a 3D surface, we need 3 axes, that is x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. So in 3D surface, there is a small change in representation of area vector. That means for this cuboid, how many surfaces are there? Total 6 surfaces are there, right? So if I am considering a surface, this surface, okay, this is my surface I am considering, I need to find the area vector for this surface. Okay, my dear students, so this is my surface and I need to find the direction of this area vector from here. Okay, direction will be perpendicular to surface. So here the direction will be in this direction. That means y. But can I ask you a question? Can we draw another direction for this surface to like this? The answer is no. In 3D surface, a surface can only have one direction. So we can draw this direction. This is a perfectly no. We can only draw a direction which is pointing outward to the body. That means it should be pointing outwards to the body. So if I am considering this plane, the direction will be outward from the body. You can't draw a direction here like this. That is perfectly wrong. The thing that you should keep in your mind about 3D surface is that the area vector, the direction of area vector will be always outward to the body. Okay, that means it will be pointing outwards from the body. Okay, and from here also it will be in this direction, and from in this will be from like this. Okay, so it will be always pointing outwards from this body. Okay, I hope you understand that there should be no any confusion between 2D surface and 3D surface. I hope you understood what is the area vector. Now let's rewind it once more. Area can be represented as a vector. It has both magnitude and direction, and the direction of the area vector is always perpendicular to the surface. That means it should be always in a perpendicular direction to the surface. Okay. And we have done so many examples. So next we are going to look what is electric flux, which is the main topic of this class. Electric flux is the total amount of electric field lines passing through a given area. So this is the definition of electric flux. So it is the number of electric field lines या amount of electric field lines passing through a given area. So let's consider a area like this. This is a rectangular shape and we are going to keep this in a uniform electric field. So let's draw a uniform electric field here. Yeah. So this is the uniform electric field. So uniform electric field means in everywhere the intensity of electric field is same. So can you tell me how many electric field lines are passing through this sheet? That means it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. So what is our electric flux? It is the total amount of electric field lines passing through a given area. So through this area it is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 lines are passing. So we can write flux is equal to 4. So what is this? This is the symbol that is used to represent electric flux. So electric flux is represented by the symbol. So in this figure our electric flux is equal to 4. So in next we are going to increase the intensity of electric field lines. So if we are increasing the intensity of electric field means the electric field lines will be close to each other. We have already studied it, right? Where there is electric field lines close to each other, that means intensity of electric field is more. So in next figure we are going to draw electric field lines more close to each other. That means we are increasing the electric field. Okay. So in this figure how many electric field lines are passing through this area? So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So electric flux is equal to 6. So from this we can tell that as we increase the intensity of electric field, the electric flux also increases, right? So we could tell that electric flux is proportional to electric field. So we can write electric flux is proportional to our intensity of electric field. So it is proportional to E, right? As E increases, the electric flux also increases. Next we are considering the area of the surface, double that of our previous cases. So what will happen if area is increased? If the area is increased, it can include more field lines. So of course electric flux also increases. So now let's look into that. Let's draw electric field lines in this also. Okay, so we have drawn here. So what is the electric flux here? We can count the electric field lines. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our electric flux is equal to 8. So as the area increases, our electric flux also increases. So electric flux is also proportional to our area. So from this experiment we can tell that we found out that electric flux is proportional to our electric field intensity and it is also proportional to our area. Okay. So this was a rough experiment to make you understand that what is electric flux. So once more, electric flux is the total amount of electric field line passing through a given area. This is a really important definition. Okay, electric flux is the total amount of electric field line passing through a given area and the symbol is this. So now we have got two relations, that is electric flux is proportional to our electric field and electric flux is proportional to our area. So from these two relations we could derive an expression for finding electric flux through a body. Okay, so let's look that. So electric flux is proportional to intensity of electric field and area of the surface. Okay, so our electric flux is equal to E dot A. So what is E? E is our electric field and since it is a vector we have vector dot A vector. And what is A vector? It is our aerial vector that we have studied earlier. So E dot A, so it is a dot product and I know that in your 11th class you have studied that what is a dot product. If you don't remember that, don't worry, because in your 12th class you are going to study about vectors in your mathematics. So don't worry about that. So now you should keep in mind that a dot product, that means a dot product of two vectors means it is EA cos theta, where E is the magnitude of electric field intensity and A is the magnitude of the area, and we have cos theta. And one thing you should remember that the result of dot product will be always a scalar quantity and result of a cross product will be always a vector quantity. Since here we have a dot product, our electric flux is a scalar quantity. Means if you are doing a dot product, the final answer will be a scalar quantity. That means it don't have a direction. But if you are doing a cross product, then you will get the answer as final answer as a vector quantity which has both magnitude and direction. That's a main thing you should keep in mind. You will study this later in your mathematics, so don't worry about it and don't get tensed about this thinking you don't know this. It is okay that you don't know, just keep in mind like this, and later you will be studying in your mathematics. At that time you will find these all things as a easy thing. So just now keep in mind that E dot A means EA cos theta. So the equation for electric flux is phi is equal to E dot A, that is equal to EA cos theta. And what is theta? Theta is the angle between electric field and areal vector. So we know how to find the area vector, right? So let's do an example for this. So let's consider the same figure that we have considered in last slide. Let's consider that case once more. So let's consider this. So here our electric field lines are going like this. And what will be our area vector? It will be perpendicular to our surface. So it will be also in this direction. And this is our area vector and it is our A. Okay. Since our electric field and area vector is in same direction, that means they are parallel to each other. So the angle between them will be 0. So if we are applying this in our equation, phi is equal to EA cos theta. Our theta is 0. So cos 0 is 1. So we will get equal to EA. So if we know the value for electric field and area, we can find electric flux passing through this surface. Okay, so it's this simple. You don't want to stress about this. Now let's consider another case. So as you can see that, so this is our figure. So this surface is slightly tilted and electric field lines are passing through them. So what will be the area vector of the surface? It will be perpendicular to this. So from here we can draw the area vector which is perpendicular. That means this will be our area vector. So this will be our A. And this will be our electric field intensity, that is E. So here theta is the angle between electric field and area vector. So it is our electric field and it is our area vector. So theta will be this. So by applying all this, we can find the electric flux through this area. Don't count the electric field lines when like this figure is given, okay? I have counted electric field lines in this figures because I need to make you guys understand what is the meaning of electric flux. But in a question, don't count the electric field lines and put phi is equal to 6 or 5. It's not the right way, okay? I just done this because so I need to make you guys understand what is the real meaning of electric flux. But don't apply this in your exam. To find electric flux, you need to apply this equation in the exams, okay? Don't count the electric field lines passing through them and write it, okay? So you should find the electric flux passing through a body by using this equation. Then you will get full mark, okay? So there will be a question arising in your mind, why we are taking a dot product here, why are we not taking a cross product here? That is because our electric flux is a scalar quantity. So to get a final answer as scalar quantity, we need to take a dot product. Instead of dot product, if we are taking cross product, we will get the final answer as our vector quantity. But our electric flux is a scalar quantity. So to get a final answer as scalar quantity, we need to take a dot product. And there is also one reason, if you are taking components, that means for this figure, we can take components of this electric field. So the components of electric field will be, this will be our E sin theta. And this will be our E cos theta. Right? And here we are going to take only components that is in the direction of electric field. So here E cos theta is in the direction of electric field. So here we are only considering components that is in the direction of electric field. So we are considering E cos theta. That is also one of the reason that we are taking a dot product here. There is one more concept that I need to make you guys more clear. That means till now we have considered the shapes of our surface as rectangular, circle, triangle or anything else that you know the area of it. You know how to find the area of the surfaces, right? But what if we are taking an area that is arbitrary? That means a random shape that you can't find the area of that surface. So let's consider like that, a shape like this. I know it looks like a amoeba, but anyway, let's consider this as our shape, arbitrary shape. Yeah, a random shape, any shape, okay? So how can we find the area of this? So for this we are going to do a differentiation. So what is differentiation? That means we are cutting a large piece into small pieces. So we are going to cut this large surface into small area. That means Yeah, like this you need to consider it. Okay, you don't want to cut this all, but you need to consider this into small pieces, like we are doing a differentiation. Like this you need to consider this as a small pieces, and we are going to consider a small area from this. So this is our, sorry, so this is our area, and our area vector will be perpendicular to the surface. So perpendicular to the surface means it will be like this, our area vector. And what will be our area vector? The total area of the surface is, we are considering it as A. So the small area will be, we are doing differentiation, that means it will be dA. So dA vector. And let's consider that the electric field lines are passing in the direction of our area vector. So it will be our electric field lines. And electric field intensity is E. And our electric flux is passing through the small area as d phi. So we can write electric flux equal to E dot dA so that is equal to E dA cos theta. Here, since electric field line and our area vector is parallel to each other, that means theta will be 0. So theta is equal to 0, that means cos 0, that is equal to 1. So we can write electric flux equal to EdA. In your NCERT textbook, you can find it as ds. So they are considering our area vector as s. But when you are going in higher classes, you will be considering in dA. You can consider it as s or a, that is depending on you. Here I am considering area as a, and our small area vector will be dA. So to find total electric flux passing through this whole body, we need to integrate it. So when we are integrating this, we will get it as is equal to integral of E dA. Since electric field is uniform, that means electric field intensity is equal throughout this area. That means this E is constant. Since E is constant, we can take it out. So we can write it as electric flux is equal to E integral of dA. So this is also an important equation where you need to apply this equation, where a shape is an arbitrary shape. That means there is a random shape and you don't know how to find electric flux. You need to apply this equation. So we can write it in our red pen, that is phi is equal to E integral of dA. Let's put this in a box. Okay. So these are the concepts related to electric flux. So we have studied what are area vector, what is electric flux, how to find electric flux passing through a body, and how to find a electric flux passing through a body if that body is in an arbitrary shape. So now we are going to do some of the problems related to electric flux to make this concept some more clear for you. So our first question is, if E is equal to 6I cap plus 3J cap plus 4K cap, calculate the electric flux through a surface of area 20 units in YZ plane. So here they have provided the electric field. So E is equal to E is equal to 6I cap plus 3J cap plus 4K cap, and area is given. So A is equal to, the magnitude of area is given, A is equal to 20 units. So 20. So here we have electric field and magnitude of area. So what will be the direction of area? If a body is kept in YZ plane, that means we can draw the coordinates here. Where coordinates are like this, and our y-axis is this. This is our z axis and this is our x axis. Let's consider like this. So a body is kept in YZ plane. So I am considering a body like this, a rectangular, square, anyway, any body you can consider. So just for example, if a body is kept in YZ plane, that means this is a YZ plane. So what will be the area vector? The unit vector which is in the direction of x-axis is I cap. So therefore the direction of our area vector will be I cap. So it will be, we can write that vector area vector A is equal to 20, that is magnitude, and direction will be in I cap. So we know the equation for electric flux, that is electric flux is equal to E dot A. So here we know what is E, we know what is A. So that is equal to 6 I cap plus 3 J cap plus 4 K cap into dot product of what is area vector, that is 20 I cap. And is there any value for J cap and K cap? No. So if you need, you can write it as 0 J cap plus 0 K cap. So how will we take the dot product of this? We are multiplying the I caps together and J caps together and K caps together. So we are going to multiply 20 I cap with this 6 I cap and 0 J cap with our 3 J cap and our 0 K cap with our 4 K cap. So we will get the answer as electric flux is equal to J cap and K cap becomes 0 and 20 into 6 is equal to 120. So it is 120. And what is I cap dot I cap? That is I cap dot I cap is equal to, dot means it is cos theta, I cap and I cap will be in same direction, so it is cos 0, so it will be 1. I cap dot I cap will be 1, and likewise J cap dot J cap will be 1, and K cap dot K cap will be also 1. So always dot product of this unit vectors gives value as 1. Always the dot product of the unit vectors give 1. So we have electric flux is equal to 120, and what is the unit of electric flux? You have already studied it in your 11th class, how to derive the units, right? So what will be the unit for electric flux? So the unit of electric flux is Newton Coulomb inverse meter square. I will write it here, unit. But since here area is given in 20 units, we can write phi as 120 units itself, okay? The actual unit of electric flux is Newton Coulomb inverse meters. In other problems, you need to use this unit, Newton Coulomb inverse meter square. Now let's look into another problem. A cylinder is placed in a uniform electric field E with its axis parallel to the field. Show that total electric flux through the cylinder is 0. So a cylinder is placed. So let's draw a cylinder first. So this is my cylinder, and electric field E with its axis parallel to the field. So consider this as the axis of the cylinder, and this axis is parallel to the field. So electric field will be in this direction. Okay. Now we need to find total electric flux through this whole cylinder. So let's consider first these two surfaces, right? What will be our area vector from this surface? This is our circular surface. Area vector will be outwards and also perpendicular to the surface. So perpendicular to the circular surface means it will be in this direction. That means in the direction of our electric field. So it will be our A vector. Okay. And electric field E, that will be E vector. Okay. So let's name this surface as first surface. This is our first surface, okay? And this circular surface is our second surface. and this body of the cylinder, that means from here to here and from here to here, and this is our third surface. Okay, so electric flux due to our first surface will be is equal to E dot A, that is EA cos theta, and since area vector and electric field are in same direction, that is cos 0, so we can write this as EA. Okay, now let's consider second surface. Electric field is in this direction. The area vector should be outward and perpendicular to the surface. So outward and perpendicular to the surface, so this will be our direction of area vector. This is our area vector. So we can write electric flux at our second surface is E dot A again. But here what will be our EA cos theta? EA cos theta. What is theta here? Theta is the angle between electric field and area vector. So here angle is, electric flux is like this and area vector is in just opposite direction. So theta is 180 degree. So theta is equal to 180 degree. So what is cos 180? Cos 180 is equal to minus 1. So we will get electric flux at our surface 2 is equal to minus EA. Okay. Now let's consider our third surface. So this is our third surface, and what will be the direction of our area vector of this surface? So it should be perpendicular to the surface, so perpendicular to the surface, so it will be like this, and this will be our area vector, and direction of electric field is in this direction. So our electric flux at our third surface is E dot A, that is equal to EA cos theta, and what is the theta here? It is 90 degree. So we can write EA cos 90, that is EA cos 90, cos 90 is 0. So the electric flux due to our third surface becomes 0. So we have electric flux due to our first surface and second surface. So we can add this both and find the total electric flux through this whole cylinder. So we can write electric flux total is equal to electric flux due to our first surface plus electric flux due to our second surface, that is equal to EA minus EA, that is equal to 0. So by this we have proved that total electric flux through cylinder is 0. I'll explain this to you once more. We have considered three surfaces in this cylinder, that is, this is our first surface, this is our second surface, and this is our third surface. And we have find electric flux through our first surface, and since here our area vector is in this direction, that is perpendicular to the surface, and electric field is also in same direction. So we get electric flux through first surface as EA, and in second surface our area vector is in just opposite direction of our electric field line. So that means theta becomes 180. So we get electric flux due to our second surface as minus EA. In third surface, since area vector is perpendicular to the surface, it is in this direction, and our electric field line is in this direction, which is they are making an angle of theta 90 degree. So our third surface become EA cos theta, where theta is 90 degree, so it becomes 0. So to find the total electric flux passing through this whole cylinder, we need to add the electric fluxes, that is electric flux through first surface plus electric flux through second surface plus electric flux through third surface. Since third surface is 0, we are not including it here. So we will get EA minus EA, that is equal to 0. So total electric flux passing through the cylinder becomes 0. Okay, we have completed our second question also. So there is one more question remaining. After that, we will end this class. Okay. So our third question. A circular plane sheet of radius 10 cm is placed in a uniform electric field 5 into 10 raised to 5 Newton Coulomb inverse, making an angle 60 degree with field. Calculate electric flux through the sheet. So let's consider a circular plane sheet of radius 10 cm. So let's draw that first. And the radius of the circle is 10 cm. Okay. Now a uniform electric field is applied, making an angle 60 degree. So let's draw the electric fields. So consider these are the electric field lines passing through this circular surface. Okay. And it is making 60 degree with the surface. So this is 60 degree. Okay. Now electric field lines are in this direction. So this is electric field lines direction. Now we need to find the electric flux through the sheet. So to find the electric flux, we need to know the area vector. So area vector will be perpendicular to this surface. So this is our area vector with A. So what is the angle between our area vector and electric field? So this will be the angle. So let's consider this angle as our theta. So we need to find theta, then only we can put that theta in our equation, right? So to find theta, we know that theta plus our 60 degree is equal to, what is that? That is the angle between our surface and area vector. Always the area vector will be perpendicular to our surface. That is, it will be 90 degree, right? So it is 90. So what will be our theta? Theta is equal to 90 minus 60. That is equal to 30 degree. Now we can put this simply in our equation. Our equation is electric flux is equal to E dot A. So that is equal to EA cos theta. EA cos theta. So E is 5 into 10 raised to 5. Electric field is given as 5 into 10 raised to 5. And area of the circle is A is equal to pi r square, where r is equal to 10 centimeter. Okay, now let's put in the equation. So we get electric flux is equal to 5 into 10 raised to 5 into pi. What is r? When we are taking in meter, it will be 0.1. So that is equal to 0.1. Let's write it here or you will get confused. It is 0.1 meter. 0.1 all square and cos theta is 30 degree. Okay. Now let's apply this whole value, then we will get it as, now this will be equal to, so let's put all the values, that is 5 into 10 raised to 5, pi is 3.14 into 0.1 square is 0.01 into cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So calculating all this value, we will get electric flux is equal to 1.36 into 10 raised to 4. What is the unit of electric flux? That is Newton Coulomb inverse meter square. This is our final value. So you have studied how to solve this also. Try it once more and make sure that you have understood the theory behind electric flux. If you know the theory, you can solve the problems very easily. So this is what electric flux is. I think this topic was simple for you. I think this topic is quite simple. So that's all for today. And thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay happy and always study well. Bye.